So after the '06 season into the '06-'07 season, again, it's a underwhelming season in terms of getting anywhere in the postseason. They lose in the first round to the Suns again. And then we get to the '07-'08 season. This is Kobe's MVP season. And then about halfway through the season or around the All-Star break, they get Pau traded to the Lakers, which you can see on the screen is the trade.
So this is like right around the time you were becoming a fan. Am I right?
I was playing a lot of basketball at this time, but I didn't start watching basketball until the beginning of the 2009 season. Like I didn't start consistently watching. I was a Kobe fan, but I wasn't really like into basketball like that. Like where I'm watching every single moment of the season and checking up on the Lakers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the time, this trade was absolute robbery.
Yeah.
It was blasted by pretty much every person in media who had a say in the NBA. Like I just remember Stephen A. like blowing it up, and just getting they got rid of Kwame Brown. The city of Los Angeles should be celebrating today. I'll never forget. I remember that like it was yesterday. But the main reason I wanted to bring this up is I remember when I first saw this trade, I was like, oh, the Gasol brothers got traded for each other. Nobody knew who Mark was. No one knew what Mark was going to do at the time.
Yeah.
And they had already gotten, a lot here with 2 first-round picks, and to get the rights to Marc Gasol. I think this ended up washing out. Like the Lakers,
the Marc Gasol part makes it wash out. I don't know if everything else because the first-round picks would have been ass.
Actually, let me rephrase that. The Lakers won the trade definitely, but the Grizzlies didn't lose it as bad as everyone said they lost it on trade day. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because they made several good playoff runs. They had a very the grindhouse was a real thing.
Yeah,
it was cool. It was a
I think the Lakers won it, but not definitely not as much as I agree because. I mean, the 2 first-round picks were probably shit because the Lakers.
Can't we figure that out?
Because it would be because this year the Lakers were the number 1 seed. The next year the Lakers were the number 1 seed, and I think the year after that they were the number. So any draft picks they got, they were going to be really late in the first round. You think it equaled out?
I keep saying that.
There's no way that it equaled out. The Lakers got 2 championships and Pau Gasol.
Yeah,
with Pau Gasol, and Marc Gasol never left the second round. So I mean,
Pau Gasol proceeded to be how many time All Pro? Like how many times did he make All NBA?
Pau Gasol. Oh,
yeah,
I'm not sure.
With you guys,
not 100% sure.
Like he was an All Star.
First 3 years
he was there, right?
Yeah.
First 3 full years he was there. He's an All-Star. Yeah. He's given you, on average, pretty much 18 and 10 every night.
Yeah.
18 and 10 every night, shooting 55%.
19.
Like, giving you a block and a half. The perfect beta for Kobe. The perfect second option for Kobe. Because not only was he the right play style, like very much the opposite of something that of the way Kobe played, but somebody who was very intellectual.
Yeah, he was very intellectual. Yep.
So it allowed Kobe to be more of himself, which I'm sure made things like chemistry and shit like that come together rather quick.
Yeah.
And
what I wanted to talk about in that season is so they were the number 1 seed, and Pau came in at the more closer to like the last 30 games of the season, 40 games. So
in 2 seconds. This the Kobe's MVP year we're talking about now?
yeah, yep. So I never knew. I didn't know that Pau came in the middle of the year. I don't even know why I've never researched it. But I want to see what were the Lakers' record before Pau Gasol.
So he came in 27 games left with 27 games left.
Yeah, so that means the Lakers played 50, 58.
So hold on, let's actually
60, 48.
Oh, he's with Memphis here. Hold on, he's with Memphis here.
No, Lakers, 55 games. The Lakers played 55 games.
So through 55 games, we could get that answer. We can get that pretty easily.
Well, we know he got traded on the 1st, so we could do everything up to the 1st.
Everything from February on.
Yeah.
It should be.
So they must have cleared, because I'm assuming everyone thought that this was highway robbery because they were the number 1 seed already, and then they got Pau, which means Kobe brought that shitty ass team to the number 1 seed. So it makes sense why he was MVP.
The Lakers were 31-16 before he got there, because this was the last game. This was his first game. He popped off. Immediately made an impact. 24-12.
What? Kobe had a bad night.
Yeah, but he had a lot of assists.
Yeah, I'm just surprised. Weird.
MVPs can have bad nights sometimes, especially when you win.
I just don't know if he tried to defer.
Maybe, but 3 of 13 is 13.
Yeah, he could have been off, but usually Kobe tries to keep shooting. But I feel like he was trying to defer. But that's crazy to me, because to me that's more of the impressive part, because them going to the NBA Finals is probably a given at that point. But him going 36-16 with that team or whatever the hell he went, that's pretty impressive, especially in the West.
I wonder what the voting was. I wonder if it was even close, because we know, because we've looked back as previous years, that there were a few opportunities for MVP that he missed out on / was screwed out of.
Yeah.
So between him being the number 1 seed and earning it, I wonder if it was all that close. It was
clear.
It was pretty clear for the first place votes and the total votes. Chris Paul's kind of close here, with 21-11 with almost 3 steals. Where's the what were the what's the horn? Oh, they were second. They were right behind the Lakers. So interesting. So maybe if Pau comes earlier, maybe Kobe doesn't win this MVP award because people are upset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That could very well be.
Because people love to dick ride in those situations.
Yeah.
The highlights on for a minute.
And that makes more sense to me why in 2009 he wouldn't have won it either. Because if people were thinking of it from that perspective.
Do you think his year was better?
No. In 2009?
Yeah. Do you think this was his best year? And when you realize that he got the MVP in this year, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Or do you feel like the fact that this is his only MVP year is very weird? So
basically, if I think this is I definitely feel like the fact that this is his only MVP year is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because in 06, there's no way Nash deserved the MVP over him. That to me, it's just like you argued LeBron. I just couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it because 7th's not high enough for me. But I understand your point.
Yeah, but and
you can have context as much as you want. But we've already broke it down. My point is, I don't think this was his best season.
Even if LeBron would have won it that year, I would have understood that way more because it would have made so much more sense. Because he was wasn't he the first or second seed in the East at the time, and he was leading. He led a dog shit team to the finals that year. So or not that year, but the year after, or whatever. But he that would have made way more sense than Nash. Nash didn't make any sense at all.
But
They were third seed.
do you think this was Kobe's best year?
No, I don't. And it's because of the finals. To me, the finals he didn't he did well in the finals, but if you see his 2009 finals versus 2008 finals, and plus the overall season, his leadership, I think it's just better in 09.
So let's look at Kobe's playoff stats from this season. So if we're at 07, 08, let's go down to his per game, because he had 28, right, in the regular season.
Yeah.
So let's see. So yeah, he shot a little bit better from the field.
That's per 36.
Oh shit! There we go. So he led the playoffs in scoring with 30 every game.
Yeah.
And still shot a pretty good percentage. 47's above average for him. 30% from how many free throws he getting? Again, 7.5 makes, shooting 80% from the line, or 81%.
Yeah.
What do you call it? But 35 and 5. So this is like an average, your standard Jordan year.
36 and 6. We'll keep on.
They're almost pretty much dead center, but whatever. 30.
What?
30.
How is 0.7 almost dead center?
And even dead center is you round up. It's literally math.
Nah, I'm good. I'm not going to do that. So he plays 21 games, right?
Yep.
And then they pretty much run shit in the playoffs. They swept the Nuggets.
Yeah.
They didn't get to 7 games once. They pretty much took care of everybody easily.
Yeah.
Well, it's San Antonio. We do our yearly San Antonio check-in. What it feels like during this legacy break. They constantly run into the Spurs.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's the two dynasties of the
50,
decade.
50, 30, 90 shooting percentages. 29, 29, 5.5, and 4. Gotta be so specific, or I'm gonna get my ass chewed out. So
no, I'm just saying, like 5 and 5 is just like it was definitely 6 and 6. Like you gotta give him some respect.
Yeah, Duncan 22 and 17 in the series. Yeah, right? At age 31. He's not that old yet, but
yeah.
22 and 17 with almost 5 assists.
So he did his thing and just still got fucked up. I can't believe I didn't.
He shot a pretty low percentage.
Oh, okay.
And what was Pau doing?
Did Bynum?
Duncan was also, I think they were just kind of canceling each other out to an extent.
Yeah.
Because he didn't shoot.
Yeah, it's not Duncan at this point either.
Well, I think that depends. Let's go look at some of the games, because we know that in games, now we're doing a Duncan legacy breakdown. He had a bunch. Pau was guarding him well. Like, how many blocks Pau had in this game?
I feel like
0, right? No, 4. See, yeah, he was fucking him up.
What game is this? Game 4? Game 5?
This is game 4. This is game 4.
Kobe was wilding.
It's game 5. You have 5 selected.
Oh, it's game 5. Oh, Kobe on the closeout game. My man smelled blood and just feasted. Yeah, I can't believe I don't know about this. Why don't I know about this? What the fuck? And this was like around my time. This is crazy.
Well, according to you, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, but still.
But we could check it out. We could look at some of the highlights. Oh, it was close going into the 4th.
I know he was. Yeah, of course. I don't. That's why I was when I first saw that they beat the Spurs in 5. I was surprised because the Spurs are usually, especially at this point, we're pretty good.
Yeah. But this is a textbook Kobe game. Like,
pretty motherfucker.
Just to be like ruthless in the closeout, take all the shots, not worry about the team game plan. It's about winning the game for him.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing that you were trying to tell me as the difference between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant was what?
Kobe never stopped. Yeah, he always attacked when Jordan like he he picked out when to attack. Like you could tell that Jordan was more mature in his game, especially towards the end of his career. I feel like even in the beginning of those Bulls runs in 90, 91 and 92,
yeah,
you just saw Jordan didn't always just go in attack mode. But Kobe started doing that, especially in 09. And that's why, like, I could tell in 09, Kobe would do that way more.
Yeah.
Where it was only the only time Kobe would stop doing it is when he felt like the game was getting out of hand. And he would just start chucking until the team got back into like their like rhythm, and then he would like kind of let it go.
But he's doing the same thing here in an incredibly close game. And this is the point that I wanted to make. The one thing that Kobe is, and I think this is a great point to make, Kobe is stereotypical Jordan. Like, Kobe actually plays the way we think Jordan played, if that makes any sense. And this goes into how Jordan kind of let the game come to him, and Kobe was always had that mentality that Jordan had in a closeout game. You know what I mean? Like it was very rare. Like Michael always wanted to take the game winner, but he would, like, even in the double nickel game against the Knicks, he had the opportunity to hit the game winner. He passed it to the center on the inside for the dunk. Like,
but Jordan wasn't always like that though. Outside
of a shot but once he started really winning, he pretty much was like that a lot. But like the Paxson shot, a lot of things through the 90s. But with Kobe, outside of like the Ron Artest shot and like the Shaq lob, it's him taking the shot. There is no opportunity to pass. There is no passing.
No,
that's where he got that. That's where he got that moniker about him. But
it wasn't true. That like in his first championship without Shaq, he gives Game Fisher a game winner.
Derek Fisher.
Sorry, what did I say? Game Fisher?
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek Fisher. I think he passes it out to Derek Fisher for a game winning three, and to put the Magic down 3-1.
Yeah.
So he definitely does do it. He just, I think people.
That was one other. I mean, my point is, like, that's not his instincts at all to do that. Like, he has to outwardly think about that kind of shit. His instinct.
Yeah, but Jordan did too, though.
But his instinct here is to do. I agree with you, but I don't know. As Jordan got older in his career, he had to steer away from that. Whereas Kobe got older in his career, it was almost more encouraged because of the way the teams were created and because of the way, like, their careers kind of went. Whereas Kobe,
I see it very. I feel like it's like the same exact thing with Jordan and Kobe.
I feel like
Jordan had never had Shaq ever, and that matters, and it makes a big difference as to the career development and growth. When Kobe is working with Shaq, he's not encouraged to be the primary scorer unless Shaq fucking fouls out or
that's not true though. Happens. That's not true.
And then
if you watch the Lakers games during those times, Kobe was the closer.
I understand what you're saying, but he was never the primary scorer. He was always the second option.
Yeah, but you were talking about game winners, weren't you? Like
no, I was talking about how their careers have developed and how they attack the floor in these games. Like, when we go to this game, and why I say this is like kind of like a very similar game to what Jordan have done in the closeout, and where I'm making the difference. So in the fourth quarter, right? Kobe all the time is going to try his hardest to give you this, even if he's not fucking even if someone's not talking shit to him. Like, Jordan had, if it was like a random
this
game.
This is GOAT shit right here, by the way.
No, fuck you. You're going to let me talk.
This is GOAT shit.
Shut up. You're going to let me talk. Fucking, so, because I'm going to lose my train of thought if you don't let me, because you're going to disagree or some shit. So, fucking, The point is, this guy, it didn't matter whether it was like against the Clippers on a Tuesday night or like he was always going to come at you and try his best to give you this every single time in the fourth quarter. Like whether they were up by 10, whether they were down by 10, whether they're fucking like, as long as Kobe's on the floor and it's the fourth quarter, the offense is running through him and there's no other options. Like if somebody's hot, it doesn't matter. Kobe's getting the ball. Like that was his thing. Whereas Jordan, like somebody had to like talk shit to him or like he had to like psych himself up to get himself fucking motivated. Things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's all those stories about, oh, Jordan was having a quiet night. He was bored. It was like 10 points into the third quarter. And then somebody called him an asshole and now he's got 40. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about, but
Jordan needs more motivation than Kobe did. Kobe was
definitely
significantly less motivation because of his mental makeup is different than Jordan.
Kobe's more self-motivated, and Jordan's more motivated through the external.
It's all intrinsic. Like you, if you said stuff about him, it did generally make it worse.
Yeah,
like the amnesty that game, and we can get into that. But I just think the one thing that I appreciate about Kobe now, as especially during the year of 2020 with fucking all the Jordan stuff that's come out and the difference, just me thinking about it, like the differences between the two. Because of Kobe's passing at the beginning and because of the Last Dance in the middle of 2020, we've had a lot of Kobe and Jordan footage to look at. Especially this year. So that's one thing that I've noticed is like with Kobe, yeah, if you talk shit to him, he would absolutely like get motivated and score and do his thing. But he did not need it at all. He was like, "Oh, I have a basketball in my hand. It's time to hurt people." That's his mentality. Jordan, it was more of like, "Oh, you said this about me. I have to now prove you wrong."
Or he'll make up a story to think that you did you said something in order for him to do it.
And I think that's actually a big difference. To me, between the two. That took us 20 minutes to actually get to, but
I think what I was more confused about was the way you said that he always attacked and Jordan wouldn't. To an extent, but in the fourth quarter, I felt like they were like identical.
Well, in closeout games, I would say they're completely identical. That's what made me think of this point. Because during the closeout, like during this closeout game 5 against the Spurs here, and then, whenever I think of Jordan and like Jordan against the Suns, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that it was just one of those things that I was thinking about where I just was like, Kobe didn't need anybody to get on him for stuff like that.
Yeah, that was his big thing with teammates. Why he would get frustrated with teammates.
It was a benefit. It was a benefit to his game, but a curse to him as a player of a team sport.
Yeah,
like if he had been a swimmer, he could have been Michael Phelps.
Yeah,
like, and it would have been fine. No one would have cared.
I mean, to be honest, his weight got him pretty far. So
yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, he definitely. I know what you mean.
More, what's the word I'm looking for? Transcendental? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah,
even more transcendental if he, what do you call it? If he had participated in a solo athlete sport. Like, imagine him against Roger Federer on the tennis court. Like if Kobe got the Venus and Serena Williams treatment, which is like how he did basketball, he would have definitely been fired considering his mentality. Like that is the one separator of Kobe. Like maybe other athletes can fall under this, but Kobe's the one guy I'm 1,000% sure. If you take his brain and put it in a 5-year-old kid, it doesn't matter. They will be great at whatever they do when they reach 30.
Yeah.
Like, he his mentality is just that relentless.
If you look at the end, like everyone wondered what the hell he would do after he retired because they just knew how much he loved basketball, and his main thing was he understood that too. So he wanted to make sure that he became great at the very next thing that he did. So like that's just his mentality in general. So like it goes straight to your point. Like I think if he's in anyone, if you put his brain in anyone's body, they'll be great because he has all the shit that'll make you have to be great because he's just so like psycho like about shit. Like he's a perfectionist.
Yeah. This, Kobe went on to say, was the hardest loss of his whole career. Was taking this defeat because of how much he had built it up in his head as a basketball fan. And that I can appreciate. Because it was the combo of him being super competitive and feeling that he was better than the Celtics and that he wanted to beat this team, right?
Yeah.
That he felt that he was the best player on the floor. And to an extent, there's a great case to be made that he was the best player on the floor out of anybody on the thing. It was like Kobe, then the big three.
Oh, 100%. It was the same thing with Bron at that point too, where you looked at it as it was a great, three person team, but you're going against like one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why Kobe even stood a chance.
Kevin Garnett was at the tail end of his prime at this point. So he's still obviously kicking.
All of them were pretty much.
I think he was a year away from winning Defensive Player of the Year, Garnett. I don't think
he wins Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Oh, it is this year? Okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
So he wins this is the Defensive Player of the Year with his team. He finally gets out of Minnesota, right? First year they win 66 games to go all the way to the chip. And they do a good job of guarding Kobe as a team because they hold him to 40% shooting, right?
Yeah.
And then in a lot of these games, like, let's go to...
They had a lot of people to throw at him.
Yes. Sure. There's a lot of bodies that are around his physical dimensions.
Yeah. Do they have Tony Allen at this point?
Yes, I believe... Oh, wait. Yes, they do.
Kobe has said multiple times that Tony Allen was probably the best guy to defend him. I know Ray Allen was a good defender on him as well.
All the defensive rating stats are pretty close. It's hard to rate defense when you're not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's always the problem with figuring out these guys who are excellent at defense. But yeah,
that's just one of those things that you watch the game and you can just tell. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh yeah, he's playing really good D. Like it's one of those.
Because Pierce was a solid defender at this point. Kobe really did a good job with Pierce too. It was Kobe probably guarding Paul Pierce, right, or Ray Allen.
I'd assume he was just switching off. Usually stars aren't guarding each other for the whole game. So.
Yes. But this goes back to something that I've noticed throughout Kobe's career. When he has, and it could be said for most greats, pretty much like most greats that I can think of off the top of my head. When you throw them a solid challenge defensively, like this was for Kobe, and we saw it earlier in his career when the Spurs got better guards, right? When you have to challenge him defensively, his offensive efficiency takes a huge dive.
Okay.
And I'm not saying like I hold Kobe accountable for something like that, like I'm blaming him, but I'm just saying like that's something I've noticed as we've gone along throughout his legacy.
Well, I don't know if
the more you challenge him defensively because of how competitive he is, the more energy he exerts and the worse his offensive efficiency becomes. Because when we see,
but you think it's because of his defense that his offense is bad?
Because he exerts so much energy. Because I know he's trying hard.
I don't know, man. I look at it as he's obviously going to be the number one scorer, and he's going to be the one to have to take most of the shots.
Yeah.
And you got a bunch of good, like, it was, like, this is why I always say that I think this was more of a Pau thing than a Kobe thing. Because once I felt like Pau, like, was a little bit more aggressive,
Right. That's
you
an
got
interesting point.
because once Pau became aggressive, it is more of a dogfight now because you feel like because that was the issue in this series, and that's what a lot of people like because I remember going into the 09 series, everyone's talking about how soft Pau was.
Yeah.
And immediately from the beginning of that year and going on, you could tell he was a different kind of guy. Like he was in terms of like his toughness. Like he was definitely trying to be tougher during that span.
Yeah.
And I feel like once that kicked in, they win the championship. And then the next year when they face the Celtics, he's way more ready. And everybody talked about it that series that he was more ready. I don't know if stats prove it, but I know what I watched. And it was just like he was definitely more aggressive. With like KG wasn't just bitching him around and talking shit to him.
I think I might be able to. So let's try and remember this, right?
Yeah, because to me,
series,
my bad.
He took. Hold on. This is a good point. In this series, he took 62 shots. He shot 53%, which is fine. Like, and he only put up 14 points a game or 15.
Yep.
That's what you mean by he's not being aggressive. And that's how you can tell statistically when someone's not being aggressive enough. When you're looking at it and you say, oh, you're the second scorer, you're taking the same amount of shots as your guy off the fucking, who's going to be your sixth man of the year.
Yeah.
You should not be taking the same shots as you in a series. You should be, if Kobe's going to be at 130 here, Pau's got to be at like 80.
Yeah, 80.
And if he gets to 80, he'll maybe hit 50 of those or 40-ish, low 40s. And then this kind of changes his number here, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a different thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is how, since I'm always looking at my fucking numbers. When I don't watch the film, and when I'm just looking at it like, what's the problem with this? What's wrong with this picture? As soon as you said he needs to be more aggressive, like that made a lot of sense to me based on what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
And I think it would have helped Kobe immensely because then that probably takes some of these attempts off of Kobe. Because I'm sure it's a situation where Pau's got it on the block, then just passes out too much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Kobe's probably like, all right, fuck it.
Or it's a save the shot clock shot or something.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing good defense and you got to chuck something. Like I know. I mean, we know Kobe was probably chucking a lot too. But like he definitely, and to me, between 08 and 09, those Kobe's, like in terms of their jump shots, like it's just beautiful. Like it's sweet. Like if you watch the way he shoots, like during these seasons, like it's just like, and some of the shots he's making, and it's so effortlessly. Like this is why I always look at these Kobe's, and I'm just like, they're definitely the best version of him because his jump shot was just so elite. I don't care, and again, I don't care what the fuck stats say. Like I watch the games, and I'm looking at like these shots are not easy shots, and then they're just like you see how effortless they're going in, and they're against good defenders. Like but there's no, to me at this point, there's no doubt that he's the best player in the league.
Damn, that was like money commentary. It was spot on. Fucking, because they slowed it down with the fingertips and how perfect the jump shot was and everything. Fucking, but no, Kobe would come out the next season on a fucking warpath.
Oh yeah, on a mission.
And that's what we're gonna get into next. But